He was born beneath a preacher's roof, but destined to preach rebellion. A boy shaped by silence and sorrow. A man who shattered the very idea of truth. From haunted child to revolutionary thinker, this is the firebrand legacy of Friedrich Nietzsche. What if one thought could rewrite morality itself? The seeds of solitude, childhood and early loss. Friedrich Wilhelm Nietzsche was born on October 15, 1844, in the small village of Rocken, Prussia. His birth coincided with the birthday of King Friedrich Wilhelm IV, after whom he was named, a symbolic beginning for a child destined to challenge the very foundations of authority and tradition. Nietzsche's early life was marked by profound loss. His father, a Lutheran pastor, died from a brain ailment when Friedrich was just 5 years old. 6 months later, his younger brother also passed away. These tragedies left Nietzsche in a household dominated by women: his mother Franziska, his sister Elizabeth, his grandmother, and 2 aunts. This environment, steeped in religious piety and emotional restraint, shaped Nietzsche's introspective nature and early sensitivity to suffering. Despite the grief, Nietzsche was a gifted child. He showed early promise in music, poetry, and classical languages. At age 14, he entered Schulpforta, a prestigious boarding school known for its rigorous academics. There, he immersed himself in Latin, Greek, and literature, laying the foundation for his future as a philologist and philosopher. The awakening of a rebel mind. In 1864, Nietzsche enrolled at the University of Bonn to study theology and philology. Though initially drawn to religious studies, he quickly abandoned theology, declaring that he had lost his faith. This marked the beginning of his lifelong rebellion against organized religion and conventional morality. He transferred to Leipzig University, where he encountered the works of Arthur Schopenhauer, whose philosophy of pessimism and the will to live deeply influenced Nietzsche. Around this time, he also discovered the music of Richard Wagner, whose dramatic compositions and mythic themes resonated with Nietzsche's aesthetic sensibilities. Nietzsche's academic brilliance did not go unnoticed. At just 24 years old, he was appointed professor of classical philology at the University of Basel, becoming the youngest person to hold such a position. His lectures were intense and provocative, challenging students to think beyond the confines of tradition. The philosopher as artist, breakthroughs and bold ideas. Nietzsche's first major work, The Birth of Tragedy, 1872, was a daring reinterpretation of Greek drama. He introduced the concepts of the Apollonian, order, reason, and Dionysian, chaos, emotion, as dual forces shaping human experience. Though the book was criticized by academic peers, it marked Nietzsche's emergence as a radical thinker. Over the next decade, Nietzsche's health deteriorated. He suffered from migraines, vision problems, and digestive issues. He resigned from his university post in 1879 and lived as a wandering scholar, moving between Switzerland, Italy, and France. Despite his physical suffering, this period was his most productive. His writing style evolved into a blend of aphorisms, poetry, and philosophical critique. He challenged the foundations of Western thought, famously declaring that God is dead in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, 1883-85. This wasn't a literal claim, but a metaphor for the decline of religious and moral absolutes in modern society. Nietzsche introduced the concept of the Übermensch, Overman, an individual who transcends societal norms to create their own values. He also explored the will to power as a fundamental drive in human behavior, and the idea of eternal recurrence, which asks us to live as if each moment would repeat forever. Collapse and silence, the final years. In January 1889, Nietzsche experienced a mental breakdown in Turin, Italy. The story goes that he saw a horse being whipped and, overcome with emotion, threw his arms around the animal to protect it, then collapsed. He was diagnosed with a severe mental illness, possibly syphilitic paralysis or vascular dementia. Nietzsche spent the last 11 years of his life in silence, cared for by his mother and later his sister Elizabeth. During this time, Elizabeth edited and published many of his works, though her interpretations, especially her nationalist and anti-Semitic leanings, distorted Nietzsche's original ideas. He died on August 25, 1900, at the age of 55 in Weimar, Germany. At the time of his death, Nietzsche was largely unknown outside academic circles, but his ideas were about to ignite a revolution in thought. Legacy of a firebrand thinker. Nietzsche's influence exploded in the 20th century. His critique of morality, religion, and truth resonated with existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, who saw in Nietzsche a kindred spirit of rebellion and introspection. Psychologists, such as Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, drew from Nietzsche's insights into the unconscious and human drives. Artists, poets, and filmmakers found inspiration in his themes of individuality, suffering, and transcendence. Nietzsche's concept of perspectivism, the idea that truth is shaped by individual perspective, challenged the notion of objective reality and laid the groundwork for postmodern thought. His call to live dangerously and embrace life's chaos became a rallying cry for those seeking authenticity in an increasingly conformist world. Nietzsche's enduring message: Nietzsche's life was a paradox, a man plagued by illness and isolation yet bursting with intellectual fire. He questioned everything: religion, morality, truth, even the value of existence itself. But beneath his critiques lay a deep yearning for meaning, beauty, and personal transformation. His message to the world was not one of despair but of empowerment. Become who you are. This call to self-overcoming, to forge one's own path in the face of suffering and uncertainty, remains one of the most powerful philosophical imperatives ever written. He did not ask you to follow, he dared you to awaken. His ideas shook the pillars of certainty and gave birth to a new kind of courage, not to conform, but to create, not to obey, but to overcome. Friedrich Nietzsche didn't just challenge the world, he challenged you.